Hey guys, I want to take a little time to really talk about the Hampton Road project. I think it's a great idea, but as they've shared with you, that idea came about 20 years ago. And so therefore we're about 20 years behind time. And if you've been to any of the recent meetings, they talk about it may take 20 years for us to develop the Hampton Road corridor. I want to tell you that I took voting on the Hampton Road Character Code very seriously. And I do believe that there is a need for us to have something like the Hampton Road Corridor. And let me tell you why. People come into planning and zoning and they're asking about different types of restaurants, different types of businesses to come into our city. And you're going to need the density, you're going to need the traffic in order for those types of companies to come in and to set up shop here in DeSoto. In talking with the Development Corporation, Mr. Carlson has stated that if we had that density and that traffic, that helps with their recruiting and to get those types of people. We also need different housing choices for various individuals, where it be a new start family, a retired person, the young urban professional. We should have a variety of home products for them to choose from. And I believe that Hampton Character Code would do that. But one of the things that I asked Mr. Carlson about was the fact that our demographics are changing, and the 65 and over is a large segment of our population, and it's the segment that continues to grow. And as that 40 to 64 age group get older, you're going to have more people turning 65 and moving into that demographic. And I wanted to make sure that with that Hampton Road Character Code, or the corridor, that we were looking into the fact that we have an aging population here. While some people that I've spoken with just don't see how the aged would fit in with the young in those types of environments, but I've lived on the East Coast and it can work, and it does work. However, the big concern that a lot of people have is the fact of going from a 4-lane road down to a 2-lane road. And I talked with the city engineer about that because people have concerns. Am I going to be able to access my homes when you start construction? And he guaranteed me that they would make sure that they had as few inconveniences on those persons as they possibly could. So I do believe that we need something with the mixed uses and the different housing in the city of DeSoto. But I believe the road, because our road infrastructure is not in place right now, what's going to happen with all the traffic that travels north and south through our city on Hampton Road, which means it's going to maybe bottleneck as you're approaching Pleasant Run or Beltline Road, or people will then start diverting through our city, maybe Polk, maybe Westmoreland. The only thing about Westmoreland, it's 2 lanes all the way. So you're going to increase the traffic. I believe as a visionary, you have to make sure that the infrastructure is in place when you start making these changes to minimize the inconveniences on your residents. So I really believe there is value in it, but whether it's the best use of our money and time, that's another thing. One thing that did concern me is they did reduce the Hampton Road Character Code down, and they were able to eliminate a lot more single family homes, but there were still some that are being impacted by it. But the one thing that really concerned me is when you start picking and choosing who you're going to pull out or who's going to be affected. I think you have to be consistent and you have to be fair across the board. If you're going to allow one company, one plan development, or whoever say, I don't want to be impacted by it and move it out, I believe that we should extend that same thing to any business, any homeowner, if they want to be. And I really believe we have to be fair, we have to be just in dealing with the Hampton Road Code. But I believe also that I-35, what the Development Corporation calls it the Eater-Tainment, not the entertainment, but the Eater-Tainment district, is a much more viable source of investing in our city. And I'll tell you why. You can do the very same things on Interstate 35. And I took time to drive down the frontage road between Beltline and Parkerville, and I saw many parcels that are for sale. Just like we're acquiring land on the Hampton Road, we could also begin acquiring land and getting that land for us to develop I-35. The advantage that I see of I-35 is you're not going to mess with our traffic flow. You're not going to disrupt the comfortability of the people, but yet you're going to still offer some of the same things on the outskirts of our town. So now, not only are you going to get the revenues that are going to come from DeSoto, maybe Glen Heights, Lancaster, when they would come in through, but you can also get that same traffic going to I-35. But most importantly, you're going to pick up interstate traffic. And what does that mean? That means money that we don't expect, tax money that we don't expect, that's traveling through our city will be compelled to stop in our city and spend money. That's why I believe that we should really focus on I-35, developing that. Also, when you're coming into DeSoto, you want people to know that you're entering an all-American city. You're entering a city of affluence. And that's what you get with I-35. You're going to have traffic, interstate traffic going north and south coming through our city. We'd have a nice frontage for them to see that would be inviting them and would lure them off the interstate to spend their dollars here in our city. So I really think that should be a priority. We should invest time and money to see if that's a viable option for our city. Remember, it's called the Eater-Tainment District, and you can probably find information about it on our website.